Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Expert Conversations with me, Emmy, here in Self Publishing Made Simple. I'm really excited about our conversation today because I know that so many of us here in this community have chosen to become authors because we are a bit of an introvert. We have something to share with the world, but we hide behind our pens and papers, or in these days, behind our computers. Type away the message that we want to share and just publish it and put it up on Amazon. However, in this day and age, it's really important for us to become more visible online. And what we are finding these days is there's a lot of video based platforms like YouTube or even now on Facebook, where we have the opportunity to put ourselves out there, share our message through live or recorded videos. And I know that there are so many of us in this community who are struggling to do that, maybe because we are shy or we're just afraid to be on camera. So I invited our special guest today to share with us how we can overcome these limiting beliefs so we can build this confidence to become more visible online and share our message through live or recorded video. So without further ado, let's all welcome our special guest today, Rosanna Monachello. Hi, Rosanna. Good morning.
Hi, thank you for having me. I'm really delighted to be here.
I'm so excited to have this conversation because, yes, certainly for so many people in our community in self-publishing made simple, yeah, we have a message to share. Some of them actually do have a personal brand, as a life coach, with their business and so on. They have their books or they are thinking about writing their books, but they are afraid to go out there and be more visible through live or recorded video. So before we get into that, Rosanna, could you tell us a little bit about why it is important to try at least to dip our toes into live or recorded videos these days?
Absolutely. So if you're on Facebook, which obviously you are because you're in this group, then it is actually imperative to be sharing your message. We're in a sea of online advancement at the moment with lockdown. So it's especially important to be demonstrating to people how resilient and resourceful you are, right? And even if you're writing a book, you are actually in business. If you've written a book, you are in business. You're not just an author. And it's firstly recognizing that. And there's no getting away from the fact that, like it or loathe it, social media is here to stay. It gives you organic reach so that you don't have to spend an astronomical amount to be noticed. You can get a following, you can get interest. But Facebook algorithms, being as they are more favorable to lives, especially. They are favorable to video, but they are especially favorable to lives. Facebook doesn't particularly like it if you send them off to YouTube. That doesn't mean don't do it, but sprinkle in quite a few lives. Since lockdown, I have accelerated and expanded my business. I have accelerated and expanded my following, increased my following, and it's all due to the lives that I've been doing, which is how we met, I believe, right, Esme?
Yes, that's
So,
correct.
it's not just financial rewards, but also the fantastic collaborations that you can come across and the great people that you can meet.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, you're absolutely. And I like what you said that when you write a book, you're not just an author, especially if you are a self-published author, you are actually in business. You have a product, you have a brand, you are an author, you have something that you're putting out there in the world. You are in business. And going live on Facebook, having a video is a really great way to make yourself visible. And as you've said, and that's correct as well, when it comes to the Facebook algorithm, doing the Facebook Live actually works really well in terms of driving organic traffic and getting people to actually notice you because you are appearing on their feed. Is that correct?
Absolutely, but there's also another aspect to this, which is I believe that if we're going to do good business and business that we enjoy, a part of it, and particularly if you're an author, people are not just going to be buying into your book, they want to know who you are. So a live is a fantastic opportunity to get that across, right? It's an opportunity for you to get across your passion, which is obviously why you've created a book. Otherwise you wouldn't have taken that time. And it's so easy, I think, for creative people, and I specialize with coaching creatives, is that it's so easy to get trapped in that sense and that sensibility of, I'm doing this for the love of it, it's my mission, right?
Mm.
But we need to make money, let's
Oh
be
yeah,
honest.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and on
that's the
top
end
of
game.
that, if you are on a mission, you actually have to do something to get your message out. You know, it's not just like a wishy-washy dream that, oh, you know, it is my mission. Yes, it is your mission. That's why you have to become more visible. And there are
Absolutely.
ways to do this. And certainly, when it comes to, you know, live videos, you know, this is a great way to get yourself in front of your audience. I know, yes, for authors, you know, especially the introverted ones, it can be a bit of a challenge because we're just
Mhm.
so used to, okay, I will process my thoughts, I will put it on paper and then put it out there. But with recordings, it's you know, well, not even recordings, with live, you know, Facebook lives, you need to plan, I assume. Well,
Mhm.
you know, well, yeah, I actually do plan even with my lives. So how do you do that? I mean, in terms of preparation for the lives, certainly for newbie authors who might want to dip their toes into doing Facebook lives, what sort of preparations do they need
Mm.
to do a good job with their lives?
Okay, so firstly, we need to engender confidence, right? Because unless you're confident, you're not going to be able to do it. However, it is in the doing primarily that we increase that confidence. What I'd like to get across to people today is we never feel ready
Mm.
before we're ready. It's the doing that makes us ready. However, there are various things that we can do to help ourselves and enable ourselves to take that first step despite the fear, despite the anxiety, despite the worries of, oh gosh, what if I do it wrong? The point is, anybody who has ever done a live or presented themselves on video for the first time is never going to be perfect. So we need to, first of all, shelve that perfectionist mindset or even that imposter syndrome mindset. Who am I to be great and fabulous? Who am I to have written a book that anybody would potentially even want to read? You know, you may be self-publishing or have a publisher who's invested in you, but you may still have those moments of doubt. There's been so many times in my life where I've created something and I've thought it was great as I was creating it, and just as I finish it, I think it's great. 3 months later, I look back on it and think, oh no, I'm not promoting that. You know, but it's all a mindset thing. And the important thing to remember is that our emotions are like this, yeah? We're up, we're down. So when we're down, to disbelieve it, to remember that there are those times when we're up. So how we feel is simply an illusion, and we can transform those feelings, those negative feelings, in any given moment. And there are a few ways that you can fake it till you make it. For instance, I don't know how much teaching you've done on mindset within this group, so I'm apologizing now if I'm rehashing. But in any case, neuroscience tells us that the more that we hear something, the more it filters down into our core alignment. So even if you're hearing it again, it's all good, right? So the first thing is the practicals. Get the practicals sorted, right? If you're confident about your background, your lighting, your sound, of course you're going to feel more confident about your content, right? Also grooming, just something as simple as putting on a bit of lippy, right? It can make you feel good, and when you feel good, you look better. So it's about that too. It's about not having your pillows all higgled to piggled
Scattered.
together, like you've got your plant behind you. If you look the part, you're going to feel more the part, right? So that's two. Now, the other thing, of course, is the major foundation of it all. It's your mindset, right? Now, I can go deep diving into mindset. I'm an EFT practitioner, I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I'm always also a hypnotherapist. But of course, that takes time, that takes diving deep, and that does take money, right?
Mm.
Not all of us have that. So What you can do is you can fake it till you make it. So you can actually physiologically change the way that you feel.
Posture.
So it's posture, it's facial expression. You know, if we all slouch right now, how are we feeling? Right? Your
Feeling
mood
glum.
automatically dips, right? It's incredible. But the same is true when you sit up straight and you put your shoulders back and you raise your head. You know, it can have an incredible impact on the way that you feel. And the other thing is, if you put a smile on your face, right? So if you do it, you're going to feel a bit, you know. So it's just simple things that sometimes in that moment of fear and anxiety, we forget. So write a list, because we forget these things. Write a list, you know, check your posture, put a smile on your face, and then have some affirmations there. Something like, I can do anything. I can do anything that I put my mind to. It is in the doing that I feel greater and more able to achieve. It's in applying myself and focusing myself on what I want that I create more what I want, right? Where your focus goes, energy flows. Yeah. So it's just little simple life tools and hacks that you can bring out to remind yourself that you can do this. You know, a simple statement before you start, a few deep breaths with your posture right and a smile on your face. I've got this. You repeat that 10 times, you're going to feel a lot better than you did when you started.
Until
Right?
you believe it, actually. It's almost like you're tricking your mind into believing. You're actually saying it and you're breathing and you're internalizing that, and eventually your mind is going to believe that you can actually do it, that you will be able to do it. And the more you do it, the more you engage with the lives, and the more you practice, the more it becomes natural and it becomes easy. And I certainly can relate to this. When I first started my lives, it's quite embarrassing now that I look back and watch my first couple of videos, like, oh my goodness, I cannot believe, how much I would stutter, how much I would, lose my words, and I wasn't making any sense. But it was the practice, the doing, and the just facing my fears. And for me, I was judging myself, but my audience didn't mind. The little things that I was worried about, and the little flaws that I was worried that people are going to judge me for, they didn't really matter. But the more I did the lives, the better I got, and the more comfortable I became, as far as going live on camera is concerned. So there are so many things that you've shared with us today, so important, the mindset. You've taught us to really prepare that mindset, really embrace that we actually have this, but also the physiological, you can actually fake it with your body. um, I'd seen one TED talk, and she was talking about, I think she was an organizational psychologist. I'm a psychologist myself, so I actually do love watching these videos. And she was talking about power poses. And just before she goes on stage, or just before she delivers a lecture or whatever, she will go into her office and do a power pose, either pose like this, or just own the room, or even if she's just on her own, it's actually prepping her body to to um to present confidence. And you can trick your body, you can trick your mind, and you can internalize that confidence. Even if you're not feeling confident, if you pose for a while and have that confidence, you can internalize it. And I love it. I've been practicing because I'm an introvert myself, and I have written a book about imposter syndrome, but I experience it myself. It's like, who am I to say all these things? Who am I to, am I an expert? Who am I to position myself as an expert? I have so much self doubt and lack of confidence. But there's a lot of mindset worked with. There's a lot of practice that goes with it, and eventually it gets better. So
Absolutely.
Rosanna, I know that you've been working with clients, and there are a lot of limiting beliefs around going live, or having recorded videos on social media, what are the common limiting beliefs that you've noticed with your clients, or maybe even with yourself? I don't know if you've experienced some of these limiting
Of
beliefs
course,
yourself.
that's why I became a practitioner, because, I overcame these hurdles for myself and became so passionate about delivering it for other people, making a difference in other people's lives. In 2013, I was actually housebound with post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I know all about these limiting beliefs, and I've battled through them myself. And the basis, I think, of any inability to do something that you want to do, and it's the age-old question, why can't I do the things that I want to do, and why do I do the things I don't want to do, right? Why are we trapped in that mindset, in that habitual context of rehashing the things that we don't want in our lives? And I feel like the basis of that is a lack of self-love.
Mm.
And that's why I'm so passionate about working with people in a group setting or in a one-to-one setting to reprogram the mind. Because as children, we're taught predominantly how to be, how to think about ourselves and how to think about the world. And there's a function, I'm sure you realize, of the reticular activating system, function of the mind, that basically filters everything that's going on around us according to what we think and believe. So we only perceive things in the outside world that make us right.
Yes, yes. Um so we know that our thoughts can actually impact on our behavior, can impact on how we feel. So if I'm feeling like I'm not gonna, I don't want to go live on Facebook because I don't know what to say, or I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to go live on Facebook because people might judge me. How do
Mm.
you reframe these thoughts so you can overcome these thoughts and, do what you have to do, and go live on Facebook?
Mm. Well, when we're feeling that way, the first thing to recognize is that we're anxious, right? Our palms might be sweaty, we might be slightly shaking, our mouth might be dry. Have a glass of water. I'm talking practical tips now. Of course, there are deep diving stuff that
Mm.
anyone who has the time and the financial investment to make to work with me personally can do. But right now, what I want to do is give some tips for people that they can actually just help them fake it till they make it for the time being, right? And just get out there and do it. So glass of water, something as simple as that by the side to lubricate your mouth if you need to. I do lives all the time on my Facebook, and I've got coffee, right? Because I do it in the morning. It's part
Mm.
of connecting with people, because there are coffee lovers out there that will connect. And it's subliminal messaging, right? It's like, oh, I like coffee, she likes coffee. The amount of people have gone, oh, what have you got in your cup? And it's
Shows your
significant to them.
personality and making that connection, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, make your set a part of you. If you're a fiddler, get something that you can fiddle with below camera. So you're doing this, I don't know, maybe a bracelet, something that doesn't make a
Mm.
noise, or one of those stress balls that you can just sit there, something to kind of distract you from thinking, oh, I'm getting sweaty, oh, I feel shaky, right? And I think if you're doing something with your hand, you're less liable to feel that nervous shakiness.
Mm.
But before you even start, physiologically, you can transform that fight or flight mechanism, which is essentially what that fear vibration is, right? That
Mhm.
shaking is that fight or flight. It's like, oh, you know.
Your body is getting ready to actually do something. That's why you're having that physiological response.
Absolutely. So, first of all, contain your thoughts. Guard your thoughts. So it's using the affirmations, but also get up and do some star jumps. Get rid of that energy.
Yeah.
Shake off your hands.
Mm.
I don't know. Do some squats. Do something physical for 5 minutes that will help you release that. Okay, because when we feel that fight or flight, what do we want to do? We want to run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you seen some of Tony Robinson's videos? Just before he goes on stage, he actually has a trampoline, and
Oh,
he
I didn't
jumps
know
up and
that.
he jumps up and down on his trampoline just to pump him up, and and
Yeah.
then off he goes on stage. So there's
Mm.
something there in terms of your physiology.
Mm.
When you experience fear, that's why some people have fear of public speaking, and in this case it's the fear of going live on Facebook. the fear response triggers these physiological responses because it's the fight, flight, freeze, or flop response. There are other tools. You either fight, you go for it, you freeze, you go away, you have the flight, or you flop. You just do
You
something and
give up.
without
You
really
say, no,
any sense
I'm
of
not doing
direction.
this.
So but it's really important to find our center,
Mm,
to really understand what the situation is, assess your ability to handle the risk,
mm,
and make an informed decision on what you have to do. But when you are in a heightened stressful state, it's quite hard to do that. So find your center, find your calm, and if it's a matter of shaking it off, do that,
mm.
whatever works for you. And is that what you do, Rosanna? You shake it off? How do you?
Not anymore, because I've done so much reprogramming of my mind, and also, you know,
The practice.
healing my energetic body, because a lot
Mm,
of these fears can be laid down in our DNA.
mm,
They can come down the bloodline of our ancestors. And it's not surprising, really, when you look into psychology and find out that we're programmed by our parents, right, and our
mm,
primary caregivers. So all their anxieties have been passed down to us, and that can be laid down in our system.
right.
Um, so I believe in metaphysical illness, and we can make ourselves sick, and we can make ourselves well, and we can, create more of what we want in our life by our thoughts. But
Mm,
not all of our thoughts are our own. And once you recognize that actually, that we live in a soup of energy, and our thoughts emit into the universe, right? We can share our thoughts. Like if the phone suddenly rings, you may have experienced that you know who it is on the end of the phone. You're convinced,
you
right?
can you can sense it.
And it's because that person who loves you dearly, usually happens with people we're close to, right? Not with business contacts. But that person had been thinking about calling us before they actually rang, and we received that message.
Mm, mm,
So if that's true, then if, say, our neighbour next door is having anxiety and negative thoughts and feeling inadequate, they're emitting those thoughts into the universe. We can
mm,
catch them like a virus. And
mm.
once we recognize that actually not all these thoughts are our
It's
own,
not
it can
yours.
be
You can
really
actually.
powerful.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
It can be powerful in letting it go. And one of the things that I teach my clients is a very simple, short technique. So it's like a mini meditation. So you close your eyes, you take 3 deep breaths, and you visualize. Now, there's 2 different types of visualizations that I do, one for sporty people and one for people who aren't so sporty. Excuse
Mm,
me, I'm going to cough. So one that the ladies particularly like is the birds. Okay, so you visualize yourself relaxed. Has your son arrived? Bless
oh
him.
yeah.
Hello.
Well, he actually arrived like 15 minutes ago when you heard the doors banging. Apologies for
It's
that.
so good.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
he's sitting here for like 15 minutes waiting for mom to finish, but I'm
Wow.
so sorry to interrupt, but so
No,
carry
don't
on,
be
Rosanna.
silly. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, I suppose. What control you have over your child.
He's a
Right,
very
I'll make this very
sweet.
quick because I know you've got to get off. So yes, basically, center yourself, sit in a nice position, feet on the floor, relax your body, visualize yourself being relaxed, and then in your mind's eye, with your eyes closed, you imagine that anything that you're anxious about is typed in letters, begins to be typed in letters in your
Mm,
mind's eye. So, I don't know, fear, don't want to do it, whatever it is for you. And you simply become the observer to that. So you remove yourself, you detach yourself from those things because they're now outside of you, they're no longer in, okay? And you imagine these words flitting about and flying off into the distance. And as they do, they turn into birds. And then you
ah,
watch the birds and think, oh, beautiful, lovely, okay? I see you. You say, I see you. I experience you, but I let you go. And
mm.
then you set the intentions for the birds to fly
To
away.
fly. And I love that because it's that visualization. It's not just in your mind. You actually can visualize it and then you let it go. And I know that it can be quite freeing, if you have this burden, if you have all this anxiety, all this fear, being able to see it,
Mm,
with your mind, and letting it go, it can be quite liberating. And when you let go of those fearful, anxiety, stressful emotions, you can actually get on with what you have to do because you don't have that burden anymore.
absolutely. Um, Another thing that I'd like to offer anyone in the group a 15-minute free consultation to teach them a tapping technique to
Mm,
help them in that moment just before they go and do their live. So if
yeah.
anyone would like to take an advantage of that, I would be happy to teach them that. EFT is extremely powerful. It's
I
like
love
acupuncture
I
without
love
the needle.
EFT with all this
Yeah,
tapping.
it's
Yeah,
phenomenal.
I only knew about it probably about 8 or 9 months ago. And it's, yeah, I can actually feel something, with the tapping. It's almost like you're letting the energy flow, and whatever anxieties and worries that you might have, when you do that mindset work, it can actually be liberating. So my
Absolutely.
takeaway message from you today, Rosanna, is it actually is normal to feel fear. It is one of the most common types of fear, the fear of public speaking. And in this case, it's the fear of going live on social media. It's very common. We have all these beliefs. Some of these beliefs might not be even our own. And it is important that we are able to understand these beliefs, be able to manage them well, and let it go if you have to let it go, so you can do what you have to do. And when you
Mhm.
actually go for it, it's only going to be a matter of time until you get better and better and better, because as you've said, at the start of this conversation, it's the doing that actually does
Mm,
make a difference. You do it, you keep doing it, you practice, you get better, and all your worries in the past, they will just melt away, because you'll realize that these fears are not real. If you were scared that people are going to judge you, you do your live and there was no judgment,
mm,
all these fears will melt away. So the first thing is, prepare your mindset, understand your thoughts, understand your beliefs. And if you have all these limiting beliefs, learn how to visualize and let it go, and go for it, and
mm.
do it, keep doing it, keep practicing, get feedback. Do you still watch your lives, like after you've recorded something? Do you still watch back and review your
Absolutely. And let
performance?
me tell you, when I started all this work back in 2013, um, I couldn't stand to look at myself even in the mirror. Right, I thought I was ugly. I didn't love myself. I was sexually abused as a child, and I think that laid down a pattern of shame and guilt, and never good enough, and not worthy. And now I look back at my lives, I'm like, I look at myself from a godly perspective. It's
Mm-mm.
almost like I'm a third party, not me looking at myself. And I'm like, oh,
You can see
cute,
your story, you can see your path, and oh,
Yeah.
that's the
But
story.
that's not why I do it. Obviously, I do it to, I'm a reflective practitioner. And so I'm analyzing how I'm coming across, what I can do better, blah, blah, blah. But when I first started that process, my goodness, it was painful, really painful.
Mm.
But there's a few things I want to leave people with today that I think will help them step out and just take that faith by the horns and just do it, right? And the first thing is, you will not eradicate every single element of fear unless you do some deep diving shadow work. So
Mm-hmm.
don't let your expectations be so big. And a little bit of fear is
Mm.
actually really good for you.
Yeah.
So one of my sideline income streams is I'm a performer on stage and I sing. In the early days, I would be racked with nerves. You'd physically see me shaking. Then I got to the point where it was like, oh, it's not a big deal. And I found that my performance actually lowered.
Mm.
So if you eradicate all fear, actually take it down to zero, what you'll find is your performance isn't as great because you're not as invested. So a little bit is fine.
Mm.
Okay.
As long as it's not paralyzing you.
Exactly, exactly. It can actually help you to perform better. It can help you to be on point.
Yeah,
Okay.
it
It's
shows
like
that
everything.
it shows that it means something to you, that you're feeling the fear because it's important, it's yeah, it has meaning for you. If there was no fear, it's nothing. It's
Exactly, and that
yeah,
comes across. So a
yeah.
little bit of fear can actually improve your presentation or your performance. The other thing to remember, and I'm sure you're all going to go, oh yeah, is right now Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever is flooded with videos, flooded with lives. So that idea that, oh my God, people are going to remember me is rubbish. It's rubbish because most people won't have time to even watch all the lives, right? The other thing is, you don't have to share your live. So you
Mm.
create your live and then you could just delete it,
I've done that before.
right? You don't, you
I've
have the
done that
option to
so
share
many
it,
times. I've done that so
right?
many times. Yeah,
So you
I'll
don't
see
have to think, oh my
something.
gosh, it's going to be there forever. And, you know, even if I get famous, people are going to pull this up on a bloopers program.
You can
No,
delete it.
nobody cares. Nobody cares, right? Everybody's too busy living their own lives, okay? So that's the other thing, is why worry? That's a
Yeah,
big thing I
it
want to leave
doesn't
people
have to be
with.
perfect. And one of the feedback that I got in the past is that because I was a lecturer and I'm used to, being professional. I'm used to having this structure, and it's so well organized and so on. But when it comes to social media, you can be perfectly imperfect. All your little
Absolutely.
quirks and all these mistakes. And I do apologize. My son, usually he barges right in the middle of a live. He'll sit right next to me and do all sorts of quirky little things, but it's okay, because that's part of who you are. And all of these flaws that you think people will judge you for, that might be one of the reasons why they are actually attracted to you, because
Absolutely.
they're reminded that, oh, she knows stuff, but she's not perfect. She's
Yeah,
also human like us, so it's absolutely
absolutely.
fine.
Yeah, and one of the things I teach people to do is to be authentic. You know, if we're going to reach our ideal client or our ideal book buyer, right? Then being authentically ourselves and sharing a part of our world with people is actually a benefit, I would argue. It's not just okay, it's absolutely in your best interest to connect with people and be your true holistic self, and everything that entails. If the cat walks past and the tail is in your face, laugh,
Yeah.
interact with anything that goes wrong. I've got two phones now, but I did only have one phone. And all of a sudden, the phone stopped being able to do landscape recording on a live,
Mm,
and I couldn't figure it out. And I just made fun of it.
it
Embracing the
happens.
fact that we're imperfect is actually a fantastic way to connect with an audience.
Yeah, absolutely. So, takeaway message, first of all, a lot of mindset work, really, really trying to understand, your thoughts, how you can actually manage your beliefs, but the actual getting it done, don't worry about, just go for it. Just go for it. Doesn't
Absolutely.
have to be perfect. And the more you do it, the easier it's going to get. But it's a matter of, just going for it, face your fears, as they say, just go for it. And the more you do it, the easier it will get. So before we finish, Vasily, do you want to sit here with me so you don't get? No, he's shy. Usually when he sits there, I ask him to say goodbye. But Rosanna, do you have any final messages, before we end this conversation?
Yes, absolutely. And possibly the biggest takeaway, arguably, is people falsely believe, hello, sweetheart. People falsely believe that actually it's easier to do a recorded video than it is to do a live. But
Mm.
in my experience and the experience of my clients, is that it's actually easier to do a live than it is to do a recorded video. And I'll tell you why. Because with a recorded video, we have the space to be far too judgmental. We
Mm.
have the space to think that we have the option to edit it. And then we can end up getting trapped in perfectionism or imposter syndrome and spend days editing a video and
Yeah.
then still deciding it's not good enough. The thing to do is just get yourself on a live. I
And
highly
just do
recommend it.
it. Yeah, and just do
And
it.
just do it. It's so liberating, it's so empowering. And the more that you do it, the more you get out of it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Rosanna. I really do appreciate, and it's wonderful that we have this conversation because I know that going live on Facebook, on social media, it will really help make our members here who are authors to become more visible. And I do understand that for a lot of authors, they choose to become authors because they are afraid to go in front of the camera. But go for it. This is an opportunity for us in this day and age to be visible, to reach more people. You already have your book on Amazon. That's absolutely fantastic. But the way to promote your books, get people to know you more and build a buzz around your book is through Facebook Lives. It's a really great way to make yourself visible online. It boosts your confidence as well. You engage with your audience and you engage with the topic, and you just go for it. If you are afraid, sort out your mindset, sort out your beliefs. Manage your thoughts, because your thoughts will impact on the way you feel and the way you behave. And when you manage your thoughts, you can do whatever you want. You can have the confidence to go for it and just keep moving forward. So thank
Absolutely. Life is all about growth, and people, your success begins at the end of your comfort zone. So step out of your comfort zone and embrace your growth. You've got this.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Rosanna, and thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm thinking maybe one of these days we'll have like a 3-day challenge for our members to go live on Facebook for 3 consecutive days. I'll pin that as an idea, so we can actually try it out, and just really encourage you to
Brilliant.
go for it. So I'll
I'd love to talk to you about that, Esme, because I've just run my first 4-week program called Boost and Blast to help people get online. So yeah, if you want any support with that or any tips, I'm happy to help you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rosanna. And thank you everyone for tuning in. So we'll catch up again next time for another expert conversations with me, Emmy, here in Self Publishing Made Simple. Until then, take care, everyone, and bye for now. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.